Hello, it is October the 9th, 2025, and it's time for the weekly word, and the weekly word is seasons. Our key scripture is Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 1. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Well, Webster's definition of seasons is a period of time, the time when something specified takes place, such as summer or winter, planting season, or harvest season. And the second definition for seasons is a different application, but it's related. It's to enhance the flavor of food by adding different spices or flavors. And it's interesting because most foods are more tasty when they're seasoned. Well, many spices by themselves, like vanilla extract or unsweetened cocoa or a chunk of salt, by itself, they're unpleasant. So there's this reality that humans generally resist change or anything that seems in itself to be unpleasant, but it's the seasons that add flavor to life, the seasonings. These last several months, we've traveled both in Asia and around the States, and we have witnessed many different people experiencing difficulties in many different areas of their lives. But a common denominator is that God is using it to shift them into a new season, a new chapter of their life. And seasons are interesting because different people love different seasons. I recently had a conversation with a family member who said that fall is not their wife's favorite season because she knows that winter's coming next. But for me, fall is my favorite season. For some people, winter is their favorite season because here in the north, there's certain things we can only do when there's snow and when there's ice on the ground. It reminds me of the reality that in every season, there are things that are both beautiful and difficult. So, a key point to this week's word is that God has something for us in every season, easy or hard, favorite or least favorite. This includes the seasons of nature, this includes the seasons of our life. You know, we grow out of childhood into our teen years, we grow out of teen years into adulthood. When we first have children, it is wonderful and it is difficult. But sooner or later, we even grow out of our child raising season. And the seasons that we experience in nature, spring, summer, fall, winter, they're generally much shorter than the seasons of life. But no matter how long or short the seasons we experience, we're meant to grow in that season, especially in our understanding of God. There's something to learn in every season. But here's one of the challenges. We can be so distracted by the difficulties of the season that we miss the opportunities and the beauty. In First Chronicles 12 and verse 32, it's talking about David's mighty men. King David. From the tribe of Issachar, there were 200 leaders of the tribe with their relatives. All these men understood the signs of the times and knew the best course for Israel to take. So these mighty men of David, they understood. Are we understanding where God is growing us and recognizing what he's showing us? Are we actively aware of which season we're in? A big challenge is realizing the time and season that we're in so that we're not trying to do the right thing in the wrong season. Psalms 1 and verse 3, it's talking about the godly here. It says he's like a tree planted by the streams of water that yields its fruit in its season. Its leaf also does not wither, and whatever he doeth, he prospers. Hey, God is with us in every season, but there's this reality that when we are in a season of planting, it's not as fruitful as the season of harvest. It said there that he yields its fruit in its season. There's a season for things, but without a season of planting, without a season of growing, there would be no harvest. Some seasons are more exciting than others, but every season is necessary. For the soil, winter is a season of rest. And sometimes we're in seasons in our life that are not as active, not as warm and as inviting, but are we recognizing that maybe God ordained a season of rest? Beauty in difficulty. We have this reality that seasons come and seasons change. And even though there's things we might not like about the current season, there are other things about this season that someday we will look back and we will miss. Sometimes we're in a season of life that's going to require effort to see a new season come. You will not have a harvest season if you are not intentional about a planting season. A wise man once told me the only way to predict the future is to sow into it. Because the Bible says we reap what we sow. If you're dissatisfied with an aspect of the season that you're in, what are you doing to sow something different into the next season? And this requires prayer and wisdom. Some things, it's a simple answer. In other areas of life, it's pretty complicated. But going back to 1 Chronicles 12:33, the next verse after the tribe of Issachar, of Zebulun, 50,000 seasoned troops equipped for battle with all the weapons of war to help David with singleness of purpose. Seasoned troops, talking about warriors here. They had not just read a book. They had not just saw a movie on TV. They had not just went to a 3-day seminar. They were seasoned. They had fought many battles. They had stared death in the face. They had overcome their fears. They had faces like lions. Through thick or thin or life or death, they had a steadiness that went to the core of who they were. And you only get this way one way, not just in hours or days or weeks, but by seasons. So it just brings us to the reality that some seasons are really tough, but they have a purpose. And sometimes we experience trouble because of our own mistakes, but sometimes it's God who sends it our way. Some things can only truly be learned through experience, hardships, and difficulties. Like Joseph being in prison. Whether small or big, these things in our lives are meant to cure us, to season us, to change us to our core, to build faith and trust and steadiness, to drive fear out and give us hearts like lions, to give us singleness of purpose. And it's not fun in the moment, but the results are worth it. Sometimes it's the hard seasons where we experience God in the greatest measure. So going back to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, one of the conclusions to life's many different seasons is this quote, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." As surely as God brings one season to an end, he begins a new season. And we need to be thankful for the previous seasons, and we need to have an expectation of the goodness of God going into new seasons. We need to ask God to help us not be so distracted by the difficulties of our present season that we miss the beauties. So today, that's my prayer, that we're able to recognize the beauty and the blessing and find joy in whatever season we are in. God bless you. Have a wonderful week.